Once again, good evening to you and welcome to this special broadcast which is brought to you by Government Communication and Information System. It is Thursday. It is episode 3 of Let's Talk Justice, Living Your Rights. And as usual, we are here to make sure that you understand your rights as per your everyday life and make sure that you engage with us. We are open on 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. Otherwise, we are on Facebook as well, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, and on Twitter we are at DOJCD_ZA. And well, there's also Instagram at DOJCD, at DOJCD. Remember, directly so you are able to make your contributions to 0800 142 446. Tonight, we are looking into educating on the legal advice offered by the Legal Aid South Africa and to also raise awareness on the services offered by the Legal Aid South Africa. And as we know that it can be quite very expensive to pursue a legal matter through the courts, depending on the merits of that particular case. So we all know that paying for legal fees can be very, very expensive, as I already said. And did you know that Legal Aid South Africa provides professional legal services and advice and representation to those who can afford it? And where tonight we discuss the legal advice and various services offered by Legal Aid South Africa. Joining me tonight for this discussion, Ntate Tlou Phihlela. Ntate Tlou Phihlela is responsible for is a legal practitioner who is also with the Legal Aid South Africa. Morena Tlou, ra go tamisha more.
Good evening to you and to your listeners.
All right. Now, let's talk about Legal Aid South Africa. Many people know this name flies around, but basically they would be thinking, sure, kibukai.
Legal Aid South Africa, it's an institution that has been established to protect the rights of every citizen in South Africa by providing free legal service and free legal advice. So, in essence, our services come for free.
Yes. All right. But now, free legal service up to what level? Because there's different levels of cases and all those kinds. Would you take up a very big case, probably, that some of these commercial advocates would really rather charge a lump sum of money on?
Look, we're not limited in terms of the cases that we take. The considerations that are there is whether the case involves important matters that have to do with the protection of your constitutional rights. So in that regard, maybe just to give a simple example, the Marikana matter for one, it was a big case, and Legal Aid was also involved in that process to make sure that those minors their rights are protected.
All right. Give us some of the few examples of the cases that might be familiar to the listeners, to the country, that the Legal Aid has taken up.
As I've mentioned, the Marikana one, also the Life as Dimeni one.
All right. And in what capacity? Because I would like to believe that many people believe that there was a Marikana commission. Yes. In what capacity were you actually involved as Legal Aid?
Look, Legal Aid, in terms of the service that we provide, we have our own in-house legal practitioners, and then we've got our judicare department where we outsource. So even if Legal Aid does not have the capacity in-house, cases are outsourced to ensure that people are represented. And for the most part, those cases that go to the Supreme Court of Appeal and the Constitutional Court, we ensure that competent legal representation is provided. So, just to put it simply, Legal Aid pays those big short.
Those big shots.
As you put it.
The advocates, the counsels, and all those. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So we ensure that there is representation for our people at every level.
All right. But now the big question would be, where does your support financially come from as legal aid?
We receive our funding from government.
All right.
We fall under the auspices of the Department of Justice.
Mm-hmm.
So we do get a budget allocation from there.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I'm in discussion with the legal practitioner from the Legal Aid South Africa. It's Mr Tlou Phihlela. Mr Tlou is going to be taking us through the services that Legal Aid South Africa is rendering to any South African who qualifies to be assisted by the Legal Aid South Africa. Now, talking about who qualifies for services and support from Legal Aid South Africa, how do you determine who you need to assist and who is capable of basically funding their own legal processes?
Our aim is to represent minors, vulnerable members of our society, minors, children, women, the disabled, the elderly. But in terms of determining who qualifies for legal aid, we have a process. We call it's a means test, wherein we'll then assess what your income is, less any taxes that you pay, and there is a threshold of 7,400. If you're earning less than that after those deductions, then you qualify automatically for legal aid.
All right.
Yes.
0800 142 446. Are you having any legal challenges that you might not be able to afford, as Ntate Phihlela has already alluded over there, to say they are able to assist you if you earn net less than 7.4 thousand?
Yes.
All right. Also now, let's talk about the services in full.
Yes.
What are the services rendered by Legal Aid South Africa?
Okay, before we move into the services, maybe
Okay.
let me just clarify one aspect with regard to the issue of the means test.
Yes, yes.
The fact that you exceed the means test does not in itself mean that legal aid is not going to represent you. So we do have considerations that we take. If on paper you're earning a lot of money, but then you've got expenses that you at the end of the day, you can't really afford the services of a lawyer. So that is where we come in. So to say the 7.5, that is basically the threshold. But we do consider each and every case.
Yeah.
So there's a question of also assets that you have, wherein the limitation is 640,000 for fixed assets such as a house, wherein that is the minimum. Basically, that is the cutoff, wherein you would then qualify automatically.
All right.
Yes.
All right. This is a discussion about the Legal Aid South Africa. Nagin Tademusotho. And you can call us on 0800 142 446. 0800 142 446 is the number to dial. It is in your advantage. It is in your own interest to actually make your comment, make your questions, and make some contribution. Get to understand whatever that has been bothering you in terms of not being able to understand how the legal processes work in South Africa. Are you the ones, Ntate Phihlela, where when somebody gets into court, they will be saying, if you do not have a lawyer, then the state will provide a lawyer for you? Are you the ones that they are talking about here?
Indeed.
All right.
Indeed.
So normally when they say the state will provide a lawyer for you, just know Ntate Phihlela will be processing all that. Not necessarily him personally, because probably might be working somewhere else, and somebody else who's working with him might be working in Limpopo, he might be working in Kwago, Western Cape, the Arbedi North Cap. Somebody might be working there, probably Leko Hai Kwago Northwest, Nasekai KwaZulu Natal. You might the offices that you have.
Yes.
Are you having a well represented offices around the provinces or the towns, if I may put it that way?
Indeed. All in all, we have 128 offices countrywide in all the 9 provinces. We've got 64 local offices, previously known as justice centers.
Yes.
So these are the main centers within the cities.
Yes.
And then we've got satellite offices, which operate more like branches, just to make sure that we reach as many people as possible to alleviate the need for the people that we service having to travel distances to access our service.
Yes.
Yes. So we do have a broad footprint in that regard.
All right. If you want to know more about those footprints, just go on to www.justice.gov.za. www.justice.gov.za. They will be able to specifically give you information on where you might be. That's all Kharipi, and maybe if you're in Kharip, you have to choose going between Kimberley and Bloemfontein. So we're not sure based on how far you might be in between that road. But now, one thing that I've always wondered, Mr Phihlela, is that do you represent everybody irrespective of what they did? Is it a criminal, a victim? That's what I'm asking basically to say. Are you able to represent a criminal and you are able to represent the victim at the same time?
The use of the word criminal, I wouldn't use that word, because then a criminal is somebody who has been convicted.
Oh yeah.
I would rather say an accused person.
The accused, yes.
Look, the Constitution itself does not discriminate in that regard. It doesn't say you are only allowed to represent the victims or the accused or whatever the case might be. So our service is to give effect to your rights in terms of the Constitution, to protect the rights that are enshrined in the Bill of Rights. So you do have a right to legal representation, and that is where we come in. Yes. So we don't pick and choose.
All right. But now, with the scourge of GBV in the country, and I'm trying to think with the Department of Justice acting very decisively and drastically against such based on our statistics in South Africa, where does the legal aid draw a line in terms of making assistance in that regard? Because it will be looked as if like you are promoting those who are perpetrating GBV.
Look, in terms of domestic violence cases, we do offer representation and advice. It can be, for the most part, for the victims of domestic violence, because you come to our offices, you don't know where to go, what to do. We will walk you through that process and advise you, this is what you need to do, this is where you need to go. So it's not only about the representing people that are accused of domestic violence or whatever the case might be.
Yes.
Remember, each and every case has to be handled individually. You can't have you can't paint everybody in one brush. So those are the considerations that are there. But our contribution, we are looking at the victims. Hence, I mentioned at the beginning that part of our aim is to make sure that we represent children, women, the disabled, and the elderly. And in most instances, those are the victims of domestic violence.
That's right. Thank you so very much, Mr Phihlela. That's the voice here, Mr Tlou Phihlela, who is the legal practitioner with the Legal Aid South Africa. As you know, that Legal Aid South Africa assists not mainly so financially, but also with legal advice in terms of representation, support, and all that likes. So Legal Aid South Africa is able to assist you if you go to their offices. And like I was saying that they assist you with the legal services. But now, let's get to hear from you on 0800 142 446. 0800 142 446. Otherwise, you can get onto social media. On Facebook, we are on the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. On Twitter, we are at DOJCD_ZA. We are at DOJCD_ZA. And on Instagram, we are at DOJCD. At DOJCD. So it's almost the same with Twitter and Instagram. The difference is that the _ZA is on the Twitter part. All right, let's speak to Mpho. Mpho is calling from Mohlakeng in Randfontein. Hello, Mpho.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mpho. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
All right, welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you.
Mpho, are you still there?
Hello.
We seem to be having some line problems. Fundo, please look at that. Who else do we have on the line? Is that Mampo from Krugersdorp? Hello, Mampo. All right, let's get our producers, Pumeza and Fundo Makaba, to sort out those lines for us. Apologies for that, Ausmpo from Mutlakeng. I hope they will be able to get you back. But, Tate Phihlela, let's, what legislates the Legal Aid South Africa in terms of the Constitution of South Africa? Let's talk about that. What makes it legitimate to be a body that actually is given the responsibility to deal with support, legal support in South Africa?
Okay, the Legal Aid South Africa as an autonomous statutory body is established in terms of the Legal Aid Act. That's Act 39 of 2014.
Yes.
So that gives us statutory legitimacy. Yes, and we also have regulations that govern our processes. We have a manual also that governs our processes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Let's get to Donnie. Donnie Bell-ons from Kaapstad. Hoe gaan het, Donnie?
Hello.
Donnie?
Hello.
How are you doing, Don?
All right, and you?
All right, my brother. Please switch off your radio as a bliff, man.
Okay, must switch off the radio.
Yes, otherwise you're not going to be able to hear me properly because I'm a bit up front and your radio is a bit at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. You can skip me, bro.
Can I speak Afrikaans? Can I speak Afrikaans?
If you want to, yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I will translate.
English.
Yeah, English Afrikaans is fine. It's South African.
You see, I just want to find out, man. I'm working for 2 years for the company. It's a merchandise company, retail.
Okay.
And you see, I don't know about my rights. Am I getting off days? I didn't have a contract. They don't know. I asked my rep, when can I get my contract? But I didn't get it. For 2 years already. And then I don't know what is my rights and wrongs. Because sometimes I ask him off for business, and I don't know if I get days off or something like that. I don't know what's on my contract.
When did you start working with them, brother?
Well, 2 years ago. 2
years ago, okay.
I'm 2 years, now here. So I just need advice about my rights and my wrongs. I don't know what, I know the wrongs, I mustn't do wrong things, but my rights, I have rights now.
Yeah. Everybody's got rights.
No, I don't know exactly what is on the contract, and they don't bring it to me. I asked him about 2-3 times, and the rep said he's going to bring it, but he don't bring it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Can I get some answers?
All right. Just hang on like that, Don. Is there anything that you might want to do a follow-up, Tate Tlou, to him before he gets away?
Okay, just to
want
know...
find out what kind of rights I can get, and what
just
is my days off and like that, and sick leave and that.
All right, just hang on, Don. Before you drop off, maybe Tate Tlou would like to say something to you.
Okay.
Don, are you registered?
Well, you see, I was unemployed, but I worked 2 years for this company, so I don't know if the company is registered. But they're in Bialbo. And so I just work in contract and stay in the shop, and my rep is bringing all the things to me. What I must do.
All right.
So what can I do? You got help for me or something?
All right. Can you listen on the radio as we...
Okay, I put off and I listen on the radio, the answers, no?
All right. Bye, thank you, Don.
Okay, and if I get a problem, I can call you again.
You can call again anytime as much as you can, my brother.
Okay, thank you, my friend.
Bye, donkey.
Bye, donkey. Bye.
All right. That's Donnie from Cape Town. And Mampo is from Krugersdorp. Hello, Mampo.
Hello.
Le kae ma? Re teng. How ka buela ko di monyana fela so that everybody can be able to hear you outside. Ouch. Mampo? Oh, okay. Ntate Tlou, a re bolele ka Donnie.
Okay, Donnie, you need to find out from your employer because part of what came out from what you are asking, there's a question of whether you are on contract or whether you're a permanent employee. That is, if you are a contractual worker, there's different rights that apply to you than when you are a permanent employee. So what I would advise you to do is to visit your nearest Department of Labor, wherein you can find out whether you're also registered for things like UIF, which are statutory things. You can't work without being registered for UIF.
That's basic employment
Exactly.
stuff, right?
Yes. The issue of a contract itself is not decisive because you can work as long as you agree with your employer that this is how much I'm going to earn. Your rights are governed by the Labor Relations Act and the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, which recommend the hours that you are supposed to work. So you can also have a look at that document. It's a simple to follow kind of legislation because it just tells you what your rights are as an employee, what type of leave you're entitled to. But it's also defined by the type of employment that you are in. If it's a question that hence I'm asking whether you are on contract or whether you are a permanent employee
Or a freelancer.
or a
and all those
freelancer,
kinds, yeah.
yes, those kind of things. So, but as a matter of interest, you can phone our contact line, legal aid advice line, which is on 0800 110 110. One of our colleagues will assist you to take down your details and to give you more in-depth information. Yes.
All right. This is the third episode of the Let's Talk Justice, and it's the 6th season of this program. It is brought to you by Government Communication and Information System. Is Mampo back? Mampo is not back. I wish Mampo could call back, as well as Mpo from Mohlakeng. If they can call back, it will be very, very appreciated indeed. So, remember, you can also look into the Legal Aid South Africa, which is funded from the National Fiscus of and is accountable to the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development. Sam is calling us from Zebediela FM, ZBFM. Brasem.
Hey, Ntate Mosotho le kae?
Re gona le kae?
Re gona.
Tobel.
Ya, ntumedisetse bontate Phihlela.
Thobela ntate wa rena.
Le kae Ntate Phihlela?
Re a tsoga re ka ra lena.
Re ba ke no ba le putshenya nyane fela sama. A ke le boletse hore le na le di-office national le di-provinceng a kere.
Yes.
Jwale rena mo magaeng a o sana le bo Zebediela so. Ke mokgwa o fe o le šomišang go ka tliša dithuto fa tlhoso go badudi ba bo Zebediela jwale. A kere mohlomong le na le mananeo a di-road shows mo le gore le ka kgona go fitlha bo Zebediela.
Le bo moletlane ka moo.
Le bo moletlane.
Okay. Ke go kwele Brasem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. All right. Sam listening to ZBFM down in the Zebediela Dinamuni. Tate Tlou?
For people in Zebediela, the nearest offices, they have an election, they can go to Leboagomo or they can go to Mokopane. Yes, we do have programs where we do community outreach, where we go out into the community, we introduce our services, we advise people right there and then on what processes to follow. So it's only unfortunate that the declaration of the national state of disaster has somehow crippled us in that regard. But those are programs that we engage in each and every year.
All right.
Yes.
So basically, this as well is a community outreach. Through your community radio stations that are participating tonight, and particularly in Limpopo, we have One Nation FM, we have Zebediela FM, Sikukuni FM, Muleji FM, Radio Turf, Mohodi FM, as well as Makado. Asteteno Kolani. Kolani is calling us from Jamestown. Hello, Ko? Kolani? Seem to be having telephone problems. I'm not sure if it's a finger problem or if it's a telephone problem, but I'm very much having confidence that my producers will be able to troubleshoot and find out exactly what's going on. I'm not sure if it's a finger problem, Tate Tlou, but it's not a legal matter, this one.
Indeed.
Indeed. This one you can't help them with. This one you can't help them with it, basically. But, priorities. You know, there's so many people in South Africa who need legal aid and legal advice and all those kind of things. And somebody might be saying, Ntate Tlou wa swaswa. Wa dlala time ale wa dlala o ka re rena ba bangwe re ile mola ba rawa emampele lena re ka se le thushi gona be ale re nyako thusha ba pele. How do you prioritize your cases and make sure that you leave everybody happy?
In terms of that, that's why we said there are cases that have to do with minor children, women, the disabled, the elderly.
Yes.
Those are vulnerable members of our society. So those are cases that we prioritize in terms of the work that we do, especially ones where you've got minor children involved.
Yes.
In terms of reaching everyone, that is our desire, to be able to assist anybody with any type of matter. Unfortunately, as you know, we have a limited budget in that regard. Because remember, as I indicated, we have our own in-house legal practitioners, and then we also outsource certain services, in a manner of speaking.
Yes.
Where we have a panel of external attorneys who we brief on certain matters. This can include advocates, it can be anyone. So with our limited budget, we have to reach everyone. So sometimes it's not always possible, unfortunately.
We're always running on a shoestring budget.
Exactly. But I think in terms of the work that we do and the impact in the lives of ordinary citizens, we are doing a great job.
Most definitely, most definitely. As you know, Legal Aid South Africa, as Mr Tlou Phihlela has said, they have represented, I would like to believe that it's the victims of what happened in Life Esidimeni.
Yes.
And also in Marikana, you probably would be representing from the minor side of things in that manner. So basically, those who are destitute, Legal Aid South Africa is there for you. Now, of course, as you've already alluded to say, one of the challenges is budget constraint. Yes. I believe that everybody would like to tell you that they have a budget constraint because things keep going up anyway. And this year, 2020, it's even worse because the COVID-19 is actually making a huge impact on many of the budgets of our own institutions. Yes. But now, let's talk around the challenges generally that the Legal Aid South Africa is facing in order to fulfill its mandate.
Challenges, I would say, the amount of work that is there. There's just a lot of work to do. Unfortunately, there's not enough of us to be able to cover each and every one of that.
Yes.
Those are some of the challenges that we have. Basically, it's about manpower and so on.
All right.
Yes.
But now, with so many legal practitioners in South Africa, some of them even crying that they ain't got work. How do you encourage and recruit them into this system so that they are able to play their part?
Look, we've got a program wherein we are assisting those graduates. It's a candidate attorney type of program.
That's right.
Where we are bringing them into the profession. So that is something that is very extensive, and that's one area where we have developed a lot of practitioners in terms of legal aid. So those are some of the resources that we have.
Okay. Let's talk to the people. Ukolani Phihlela from Germiston. Saban Kolan.
Hello, the guy.
Reten le kaya buti.
All right, man.
Hantle.
Oh,
ke seme ko Limpopo. All right. Abuti Seme, talk to us. Ising wako ZB, wako Limpopo. Aha. Bolela le rena khoshia.
Man, mener ke nya go bitsora ana sa di go dula lena. Ala nya la na le ba mo sekgweng la be le gore ka go no tlhalefetsana le a saena fela jaanong ke le mengwaga e mentši ke sa dule le yena o teketse kwa ke teketse kwa a le ka nthuša ka divorce na ka gore yena a sa nka ra ka e contesta ka gore beno wa dilo tsa ge be re thabile le yena o te ponetse tsa ga o kry-ile green pasture koo a re tlhakane ka sele ee kore gare bjale ke swere ke certificate se ka gore ke tlo palela ko go golana bjala I'm about to reach a pension jale ka ga bereka government wa bona nka se ke kgona
go diadio tša gona
ee a tlo bereka government ya
okay
ke tlo palela ko gola ka rena o sa tšhelete ke about 10 years gore ka e pension ya
all right
ke kgopela gore o ka se kgone go dira divorce because le go e contesta yena a e conteste ka gore a kry beno ba go saena fela we didn't do anything like lenyalo eno ba gore re swere pano
le home affairs ya tseba ka lona okay anything that it before I let Awitsem go okay thank you Malome Sam a o ka theletša radio ya gago re tla le karabo gona mo wa ka thank you sir
Sorry.
Okay, Kolani from Jamestown.
Hi, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, and how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I have a question, a really quick question. It's in regards with I just got I was working before, but I'm no longer working now. I'm a freelancer.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm earning less than 7,000. So I had some debt that I needed to pay before, of which I couldn't pay at the time after losing my job. So I went under credit review. So now I'm in a position that now I can be able to pay that debt. So when I spoke to the creditors, they told me that my name won't be cleared until I fully pay all the debt, of which it's impossible for now. So they said another option was that I get a lawyer. So all the lawyers that I've consulted, they are pretty expensive. So I was wondering if legal aid can help me in that matter.
Okay. Listen on the radio, Awiti Kolani, and see. We are going to talk about the legal services that Legal Aid South Africa is offering, right?
Okay.
Stay tuned, Malome. Thank you so very much.
All right.
All right. Last caller before I give Mr Tlou a chance to respond to the comments and questions. Katlego, you are calling from where?
Gantamati Diela.
Gaditamati Zebediel.
Tobe.
Morena.
Lega.
Re gona le ka ya budi.
Ya wa rona. Be ke no rata go botsa gore ba legal aid ba ka gona go protector le ke sene tšhelete go sa kgathane le gore molato go mokanka.
All right, ke yona fela ke re Abuti Katlego.
Ke yona fela.
All right, listen on the radio. Listen on the radio. Are you listening to Mukopano or are you listening to ZBFM?
I'm listening to ZBFM.
Thank you so very much.
All right.
All right. It seems like Limpopo la go kwa Morena Tlou. Limpopo la go kwa ka nnete. Talk to the people. First, it's Sam wa go tswa Limpopo, and then Kolani as well. They basically talking about the legal services that you offer, and I think we need to be more elaborative on that, as well as Kolani, not Kolani, Katlego is actually asking. It's 3 different services that they questioned if you are able to assist them with.
Okay. Legal aid, we offer services such as divorce matters. We do representation where you are defending or where you are instituting a divorce.
All right.
We do maintenance matters, domestic violence matters, harassment matters. We do administration of estates, mental health care matters, some labor matters, asylum matters. So there's a lot of matters that we do. With reference to what Brasem has been asking, yes, we do offer legal representation in that regard. Please avail yourself at your nearest legal aid offices.
Kukuni
Jenfes,
Roblesdal, Denilton. Di toropo tse di around. Right now in the rural areas, there's not too many offices as we might want to have, right?
We do have satellite offices.
Oh, yeah.
Which are offices that are ideally placed in between these distant areas. So Skukuni, I think it falls under Leboagomo, depending on which area of Skukuni you are in. Okay. Middleburg might be nearer to you than Leboagomo. Yes. So those are considerations that you should have in mind. If you need to go to Leboagomo, there's also Beggersford as well. So it all depends on how far you are from your nearest service center or local office. Right. Yes.
All right. So when I just go on to www.legalaidsa, www.legalaid.co.za, I am sure you'll be able to see where you can find the Legal Aid South Africa offices, because basically there are many of them. As Mr Tlou has alluded that it's about 128
Indeed.
Of these offices around South Africa at the moment, and the number keeps growing as the budget keeps being approved.
Yes.
Le rana ka budget ya bokae Morena Tlou?
I think it's 1.8 billion.
Yes.
Yes, I think it's around that.
And
ballpark.
somebody will just be hearing B and says, "Hey, Lena Timus."
But if you look at it in the bigger scheme of things, it's not
quite
such a lot
little.
of money. Yeah, it's very little.
Because legal services are quite very expensive in South Africa,
especially if you are outsourcing.
Yeah.
So people might be looking at it from only. Remember, we have to maintain offices. There's phones, electricity, there's travel, there's this, there's that. There's so many things that come out of that budget. So
that's right.
It's not that impressive.
Yeah. But now, doesn't that hamper Ntate Mosotho mo? He's a millionaire. He can afford advocate Camp J Camp. He can afford advocate Berry Roo. He can afford all these top shots. And then here comes a representative from Legal Aid. The value, because Barry Fagimaluzo what would you say on that one? Because the commercial part of it might seem to be what people prefer when they have money and not come to you. What would you say about perception around money can get you better legal advice?
Look, money in itself will not improve your case. If your case is not good enough, then the fact that you have money is not going to make sure that you're going to win the case.
I like that.
So I think that the important thing is the competence of the representation that you have.
Yes.
And that is where we come in. We are more of an equalizer.
Yes.
Because here is somebody with millions of rands in their pocket.
Yeah.
And then you come to us, and we are able to use our resources in order to ensure that you at least get your day in court.
Yes.
And and justice is attained. So it's not a question of money.
Yeah. Because I can believe, the likes of Boroni, they working for this company. The company is playing dilly-dally with them. Yes. The company is making quite a lot of money and can afford quite some serious legal eagles that would just definitely kick Donny out of work or something like that. So you're able to protect the vulnerable who need it, like Bobra Doniso. Yeah,
that's the main idea behind the establishment of legal aid.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, 0800-142-446. We are going to take two more callers after that. But otherwise, I was just reminding you to get in, but I'm sure Kolani and Katlego are really jumping up and down and say, but he has not answered ours. But Kulek, here is Mr Tlou.
Okay, the second caller is it Kolani?
It's Kolani, yes, from Jamestown. Yes.
With regard to debt review matters, we unfortunately do not do debt review matters. Yes, because it's more like a voluntary surrender kind of matter. So we are limited in terms of the legal aid regulation and the act. We don't do those kind of matters.
All right.
Although we can offer you advice on what to do, on how to get the most out of that process.
Yes.
Out of the debt review process.
All right. So even if you want to know about this debt cancelling stuff, debt review and all those things, you can still come to legal aid.
Yes, if you need advice on any matter, we are not limited in that regard.
Yes.
If you need advice on any matter, come to us. We'll be able to advise you.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. And then Katlego from Haskukuni, we did talk about it. I think also Brasem was asking about the divorce.
Yeah,
he needs that. Yeah.
Brasem has to go to his nearest legal aid officer. We will be able to represent him. We do divorce matters.
All right.
Yes.
It's uncontested. So what needs to be done? What does he need to prepare, basically?
If it's an uncontested divorce, just bring the address of the person where the person is employed and where they stay. Bring your marriage certificate, and so that's basically it. There's a question of whether there's minor children involved, which might also complicate things, because we have to look at the interests of the minor children in terms of custody, in terms of guardianship, the exercise of parental rights and responsibilities. But where there are no minor children involved, it's a pretty straightforward process. Yes. Once service has been done, once the person has received the summons, then
it's over, done and dusted.
No, I'm saying it's a very simple process. It's a very straightforward one.
All right.
Yes.
So even if you are not Brasem and you are going through the same process, the same dilemma, or maybe sometimes it's not even a dilemma. From what I hear from Brasem, it's a peaceful process for him.
Yes.
So, but we know on other corners and other sides, it could be quite very, very ugly. Yeah. And that's when you should be needing legal aid to be able to assist you. Let's talk to Ms. Pillay. Mrs. Pillay is calling us from Durban. Hello, Mrs. Pillay.
Good afternoon.
Good evening to you.
Good evening. I've got on 2011, police drove into my yard, broke my gate, knocked my daughter's car, broke all the ornaments in the yard, and we went to Pro Bono in the Sunset Road Court. They did nothing about it. They asked us to get our own lawyers. And then, after 10 months ago, my neighbor shot his wife, and then the police came 1 o'clock in the night. They came into my home, and they broke the gate again, and they came and searched my home without a warrant. And my daughters were sleeping, and they came and searched the whole house, and they did nothing about the gates. From 2011, they did nothing about the gates. And then again, 10 months ago, police came again, they broke the gate. We tried to fix it first because it's dangerous. We are on the main road. And they did nothing about the gates as well. We need some help. We are pensioners and we can't afford to, fight. I think you should all be the ones to help us out.
Yeah. All right. Is that all, Mrs. Pillay?
Yes.
All right. You'll listen. Which radio station are you listening to?
Sorry, I'm listening to Good Hope.
All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank God, because I came to visit my daughter and I was enjoying all the music and rejoicing with the Lord, and then we heard yours. It was very passionate for me.
You are one very lucky Mrs. Pillay tonight.
Very lucky. You're right. I'm very lucky.
All right. Thank you so much for listening in as well.
Yes.
All right. You listen on the radio, right? Okay. Thank you so much. And George is from Outreachville. Braji. Re tswile le kae morenaka? Hantle haholo man.
Phihlela, few questions. Sorry, if you go legal aid and then vampire lawyer, and then if you happy guy, Anka boela again ko di-officing tsa bona, and then ka botsa gore ke nyaka another lawyer because of all ke se happy ka yena. Maybe I can't represent it either. And then another thing, it's sort of like more office, more magistrate court, yeah, attribute ka dong or any official in your legal aid. And the last question that I can, do you also attend maybe the road accident matters? And then if you already attend that, you if only a successful case, you can only a percentage after being present.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Braji. I believe you are listening to Peli FM, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so very much, Untitled. All right. Tate Tlou?
Okay, Mrs. Pillay, you need to contact your nearest legal aid office. It's important that you get the assistance in order for you to claim damages against those police officers who keep breaking into your house and damaging your property. We do represent you in those type of cases. Now, with regard to...
But now, where does, maybe if I just make a follow-up there, where does the IPID comes in? Independent Investigative Directorate,
yes.
Police, somewhere there. Yeah, it's Kowaman.
IPID, they investigate basically misconduct, which are committed by members of the SAPS.
Yes.
So it's I'm looking at it from a civil point of view, because the complaint, from what I can gather, is that there's been damages to her property. She was not compensated for it, which kept recurring, and still she hasn't received any form of compensation for that. So we do, as legal aid, we do offer services. It shouldn't be that because you're going to be suing the Minister of Police, then legal aid is not going to assist you. We are going to assist you in that regard.
All right.
Yes.
So irrespective of the stance in terms of, you might be funded by government, but if government makes problems, you'll represent anybody.
Yes, remember we are independent.
Oh, yes.
Even though we're receiving funding from government, we are independent. Their role is only to check, parliament is to check whether we are acting, we have exhausted our budget in accordance with the set directives.
Yes.
And the minister is basically is there to oversee. Yes, but we do have our own board and our own CEO.
Yes.
Who are basically there to ensure that everything runs smoothly within the organization.
All right.
Yes.
We are still talking to Mr Tlou Phihlela. He's the legal practitioner with the Legal Aid South Africa. Mama Pile, I would like to say those people should change you big time. So just make sure that you go to your legal aid and really find out if they are able to assist you, and they will definitely gladly able to assist you in any how that you will need. And then Bra Georgie came up with quite a number of questions that you will need your response.
Okay, with regard to the first question where you're saying you've got an issue with the practitioner who is representing you, maybe the question would be, is he a judicial practitioner or an internal legal practitioner? But either way, the final arbiter in that regard is still legal aid. Whether the person is a private attorney acting on behalf of legal aid, they are still accountable to legal aid. So you need to contact, come to our office in Pretoria. We'll be able to assist you. Although as a caution, as a general caution, you are not allowed to choose your own attorney. You can't come and say, I want to be represented by Tlou Phihlela, for instance.
Yes.
That is not allowed. But in circumstances where you are unhappy with the service that you are receiving, then you can come in, lodge a complaint. That complaint will then be investigated. And if there is merit in that complaint, of course, remedial action will be taken. Yes.
But are you able to look into the database that is provided by Legal Aid South Africa in terms of checking who's on the list and who's not?
Even I don't know.
I like that part, which actually confirms your answer to say, look, legal aid is legal aid. Look at Mr Tlou Phihlela and everybody else as legal aid.
Indeed.
All right.
Yes.
So the main thing is that because I know you provide expertise in various different fields. There might be a media lawyer, there might be a copyrights lawyer, and all those kind of things. So you are able to look into the case and determine who actually needs to go into it?
Indeed.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so very much. You're still going on with
I think on the second question of whether we do RAF matters, we do RAF matters, but where minor children are involved. That is where we are limited. Yes, we do RAF matters where we are assisting minor children.
Okay.
Regarding the issue of a percentage of the fees or so-called contingency fee agreement, I'm yet to encounter one in practice. So I honestly don't know. Yes.
All right, that will be something very interesting to actually experience, I would like to say. Thank you so very much, Mr Tlou Phihlela is the legal practitioner with the Legal Aid South Africa, and here to assist you with your legal processes. If you think maybe legality in South Africa and legal processing in South Africa is a bit over your affording, then do contact www.legalaid.co.za. All right, let's speak to James. He's calling us from Radio Turf, Ilingomankwe. Are we with James?
Tobe.
Lega mranak.
Re gona le kae?
Awa. Ka be le kwela man.
Re gona. Ka re botšiša ka leitšerinyana ntate Msotho e be ke no botšiša gore how true is the idea that most people who are represented by maybe the state, the cases tša bona ga ba di win as compared to batho ba leng gore maybe they can be represented by a private person.
All right. Ke lebogile thata bro James.
Thank you.
All right, listening to Radio Turf there. Is it a myth or is it a fact?
I think it's a misnomer. I think it's, people expect that when there's a phrase, an Afrikaans phrase. I think it's goed koop.
Yeah. What's
goed koop is.
If you can just call me on that one, like when it's cheap.
Yeah, then
it has no value.
Exactly.
Like basically that's what it says, but I forgot. My tongue got cramps on that one, so I'll go and look for it.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, it's merely a myth. The service, I think there is a recognition that we have some of the best legal practitioners in the country. Yes.
And you did allude to say, money is not going to win you the case.
No.
The merits of the case are the ones who are going to be considered more than how much has been put into that case.
Yes.
Let's get that one very clear. However, money still talks
it does.
in the real world. So I'm not sure with what volume towards the legal prospects. I'm not sure with how much gravity and all that stuff, but it all depends on the commitment of the legal practitioner who's actually assisting you at that time.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Let's take Juan. Juan is calling us from Musupatsela FM. Ko Botshabelo. Morena.
Ndale le kae?
Re tele morena le kae?
Re hantle gona mentse re ya ka mohau.
Hantle nyana fe.
Ke mametse taba tsa bohlokwa mono. A go leboe legal practitioner ya tinga mono ntate Tlou Phihlela mo. Ya le potso ga ke ke batla go botsa fela ka bokhutswana gore na ona le concept ena ya gore legal aid kapa o maqetana ke ya mmuso. Jale ke batla go tseba ke re hlakele gore ha e ba ile gore ke sua state kapa ke na le case against state. Na e be case ya ka ka nnete ha ina be e wela fela hobane hona le mentality ono everywhere wa gore maqetana ke maqeta mmuso batho ba morena.
Ya utlwahala ntate, ya utlwahala ka nnete. Ke tlo kopa gore ntate Tlou a arabe hona mo akere.
Thank you ngwana meketla mamela se ya le mo se se go Musupatsela FM Mr Tlou Phihlela.
Musupatsela FM kwana Botshabelo. Ke le wile morena.
Botshabelo ndade.
Ndade. All right. Ntate Tlou. Just hang in there, Aleta. You are going to be our last caller, but I would like Ntate Tlou to take them one by one this time around.
Okay. Look, It's another misnomer.
Yeah.
We are. We get our funding from government,
Yes.
but we are an independent institution. It's like saying the NPA is not going to be able to prosecute cases, or maybe the judiciary, for instance,
Yes.
is not going to be able to do their job because they are getting money from the same government.
Yes.
It's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, we have our mandate, and we execute our mandate excellently.
Yes.
Yes.
At the end of the day, Legal Aid South Africa has a mandate, as Mr Tlou is alluding, and yours is to trust on the mandate and not have any personal feelings towards who represents you, because you might not like Motokadi Mpazehol, but he's a good lawyer. You might not like somebody that has nothing to do with your case. So, with all due respect, I would really like to believe that Tlou is trying to emphasize on, say, the merits of the case are more important than the situation around the personalities and how much money is there. All right, our last caller for tonight, from East London, from the Buffalo City. Hello, Aletta.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. I'm so glad you people are online again.
All right, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, your comment, question?
I'm just wanting to inquire. You know, I was an able will a couple of years ago. Can people change a will at all? And when I switch my radio off, I think I'll be able to.
Yes, please. I think we were just a bit, we were struggling a bit to actually hear you there.
Yes, and I was an heir of my foster father's will. And when I flew back to East London after going to see him in Pinetown, he passed on that afternoon. The following day, his daughter contacted me and she said to me, there's plenty of money. Where do you want it to go? So at that time, I was so stunned because I just got back from the airport and I was shocked. And I said, look, I haven't got a steady address. Keep the paperwork for long. Now I'll go to Home Affairs, yeah? I'm phoning from East London, actually. Home Affairs, and they don't want to go into the archives to get the ID number because I've got no paperwork. My attorney has been and contacted Pretoria and all over, and they can find nothing. Can people that change a will?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm 72 now, and my boss is pushing me now to retire, and I mean, I need that extra.
Because life is too tough these days, eh?
You're right, yes.
Yeah.
Now, do I go back to Home Affairs and ask them to go into the archives? Or do I go back to Home Affairs like I did the time before? I sat there 8 hours and they tell me I'm going to town. And that was it.
All right. Is that all, Aletta, that you wanted to
That's all
put
I
forward?
wanted to inquire.
All right.
Where else does my attorney he's contacted all over and he cannot get paperwork.
All right.
And the Home Affairs wants the ID number. I said, I cannot give it to you. I only know the date of birth. You know, in the olden days, we had the date. I'm just saying it's a separate date. I'm saying my date. Of the 11th. And I don't know the rest of the ID number.
All right.
But they've got to go into the... Don't they go into the archive?
All right. Let's get to hear what Ntate Tlou says about that. Thank you so very much, Aletta, for bringing that one out.
I'm so happy you people are back because it's very interesting what we learn from you people.
We are just here to serve you, Aletta, and it's such a bliss. Believe me.
Thank you very much. God
All
bless.
right. Thank
Bye.
you. Right. Ntate Tlou?
Okay, with regard to the question of, is it to change a will?
Yes.
Only the testator can change the will when the person is still alive. Once the person has died, it's not possible for him to change the will or her.
But are you able to contest it? Because it looks like Aletta
you can. We
has
do
some
offer
issues with it.
Yes, we do offer services in that regard. You can contest the will if you are not happy with. Maybe there's want of formalities, or maybe you are alleging there's fraud or forgery of the signature of the deceased, or whatever the case might be. We are able to assist you in that regard.
Are you able to sway the decision in terms of what was allocated to who?
In terms of allocation, remember, once a person dies, the estate has to get reported. And whoever has the will of the deceased has to produce it in front of the Master of the High Court.
Yes.
He is basically the relevant office.
Yes,
which
the
you
Master
have to
of the
deal
High Court.
with.
Yeah.
Yes. The Master will then decide whether he's going to accept the will or for whatever reason reject the will. So it's difficult to say in this instance whether that process has been undertaken or not, and what was the decision of the master. Remember, even the decision of the master, it's an administrative decision.
Yes.
You can take it on review to the High Court. In terms of Section 2(3) of the Wills Act, you can challenge a decision of the master, and the court will be able to override that decision or order him to accept a will. And there are also formalities in terms of how a will has to be drafted and witnesses and so on. But fortunately, the High Court has an overriding authority in that regard. It's the final bit on that score.
That's right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr Tlou Phihlela, the legal practitioner with the Legal Aid South Africa. And there you have it. We've come to the end of the show, and we hope that you enjoyed. Not only enjoy, but as well as became a bit wiser with regards to how Legal Aid South Africa operates. And it is definitely there for you. If you open your heart and not say, Makweta Muso, thank you so very much to everybody who participated. Mrs. Pillay, Bra George, James, Kolani, Bompo, and all those. And thank you so very much to Pumeza Zaza Mabusela, as well as Bramfundo. He came all the way from Cape Town to come and make sure that this sounds very good and well to you. And our executive producer, Bravik Pala, thank you so very much. Nagentate Mosoto. Good night.